The following program is a SUTV student production. The views expressed are not necessarily those of Salisbury University, the University System of Maryland, its regents, administration, officers, employees, or representatives.
Good evening and welcome to SUTV Weekly News on this Wednesday, September 25th, 2013. We begin our broadcast tonight with an update on SU student Kristen Lotz, who was shot during the incident on Onley Road 3 weeks ago, which left 2 dead, including the shooter, and Charles Abbott, who police believe died trying to protect Lotz. In an email to university students, faculty, and staff, President Eschbach informed students that she recently visited Lotz, who is still hospitalized with injuries from the shooting. In the email, President Eschbach wrote of how appreciative Kristen and her family are for all the support that they have received from the university community. We also recently learned that Planet Fitness will be taking over the space that had been vacated by the Superfresh. The parking spaces at this location had become a popular one for students, and tonight Taylor Rogers brings us a story about another area of parking that students will no longer have available.
Now that the BB&T Bank has relocated across the highway, it is in everyone's interest as to what will happen to this property, purchased by the SU Foundation. We spoke with Deputy Director of the SU Foundation, Jason Curtin, to see what they have in store.
The foundation actually exists to support the mission of the university, so when the university is ready to purchase the property from the foundation, the university will have a use for it, which I believe down the road is parking. The building itself is slated to come down in January.
Okay.
You'll start seeing demolition on the property this winter, probably December, January.
Okay.
I would say by the springtime that building will be completely gone and you'll see more parking spaces available. That Rainier Management, the company that obviously has the spaces, is looking to fill a lot of the vacant storefronts, and I know that they have a couple new businesses coming in, so they're trying to expand their parking as well.
But the former bank property isn't the only lot in development. The tennis courts have been located behind Fulton for years now and are also in the plans for future parking. Eric Berkheimer, Associate Vice President of Facilities and Capital Management, talked to us about that.
Yes, the current plans are to build new tennis courts on the Avery Street Field site, which is on South Division Street. We will be building 12 new tennis courts there, replacing the existing tennis courts that are currently on main campus, so that those existing tennis courts can be converted to parking lot. At this point, that those would be controlled spaces for faculty and staff. Roughly beginning the end of fall semester, probably in December sometime, is when we anticipate breaking ground on the new tennis courts, with completion sometime mid-spring, weather dependent, of course. At that point, once the new tennis courts are completed, then we would begin working on conversion of the existing tennis courts to parking, with the ultimate goal of deadline of having the parking lot in place and ready for operation for fall semester of 14. Okay.
Thank you, Taylor. And in the university's ongoing attempt to help students find employment after they graduate, this week the Purdue School of Business hosted Meet the Firms. John Mertens covers that for us tonight.
Today at Purdue Business School, Meet the Firms was held, where accounting and information system majors could come out and talk to future employers. Okay, now what is Meet the Firms?
So Meet the Firms is just for accounting and information systems students, maybe computer science, and it's just firms that just recruit those students. So mainly accounting firms and some high-tech firms.
What do you think of Meet the Firms?
It was a great experience. Get to meet all the firms. You're not going to get any other experience where you're going to have this many firms all together at once. You get to network yourself and see what all the firms are about.
How many firms did you talk to today?
Probably talked to about 6 or 7 different firms, small and large. They've got a good roundabout experience.
Did you get any business cards or people to respond to?
Yes, I got a business card from pretty much everyone I talked to. Way to contact them and set up interviews, hopefully.
So you would say that this is overall a good experience?
It was an absolute great experience. SU did a fantastic job putting it together.
And this weekend, many students were made aware of the fact that the founder of I'm Schmacked, the site that students drinking and partying popularizes, was in town. Dr. Faust and Chief Lashley sent an email reminding students that if they are caught on video violating the law or the SU Student Code of Conduct, this can lead to negative consequences when it comes to their status as a student at SU. And monks were again on the SU campus. While here they engaged in a number of activities. Lindsay Sapp went to one of those special events and brings us that tonight.
For those of you who didn't catch it, Wednesday, September 18th through the 22nd, Salisbury University was proud to host 11 Tibetan monks from the Drepung Losling Monastery to perform their sacred mandala sand painting. The monks were sent by the Dalai Lama himself in order to promote world peace and healing. They begin by drawing an outline of the mandala on a wooden platform. The sand is then poured from traditional metal funnels called chakpur. The sand painting they created is used for meditation, and it takes 5 days to create. Once it is finished, it is destroyed to symbolize the impermanence of all that exists. Half of the sand used is given to the students who watch the ceremony, and the other half is returned to the earth in order to carry the message of peace.
And now we go to Jamie Potter, who outlines a few of the stories in this week's student newspaper.
This is Jamie Potter with this week's edition of This Week in the Flyer. In this week's edition, Jordan Palavin writes about the old Superfresh that is being replaced by Planet Fitness in his article titled Even Less Parking Spots. Palavin writes that the vacant parking lot is a cheap and convenient place for students to park who do not have parking passes. On a given afternoon, one can find over 30 cars with Salisbury stickers parked there, Palavin says. He questions if this lot will be accessible when Planet Fitness opens, which is scheduled for late October to early November. Staff at the Planet Fitness has refused to answer questions about the parking situation, according to Palavin. He writes how some who use the space may not be able to afford school parking permits. Alexandra Duggan provides information about the upcoming events in her article titled SU Celebrates Hispanic Heritage Month. The events for this year are meant to emphasize Latin American culture, Duggan says. Running from September 15th to October 15th, there will be a performance by the Spanish Harlem Orchestra, salsa lessons every Monday, and a specific meal the night of the concert, Duggan informs. She quotes Cultural Affairs Director June Krell Salgado saying, "It all ties in together this year." In the article titled Tibetan Monks Perform Mandala Ceremony, Rachel Taylor writes how the 4-day silent process is a tool used for meditation. The monks work for hours at a time with various colors of sand being poured from traditional funnels, Taylor writes. Taylor quotes freshman and Buddhist Corinne Harley saying how the experience was beautiful and filled the room with positive energy. Taylor concludes the article by saying how the mandala was swept away on Sunday afternoon as a symbol of impermanence in life. Lindsay Sapp also did a story on the monks' visit for us this week on SUTV News. Back to you, Eli.
Thanks, Jamie. And now Catherine Carmine with Campus Connection, in which she keeps us up to date with the news from around the University of Maryland system.
On this week's edition of Campus Connection, we will hear about a school shooting, a new program being brought to the University of Maryland, and the frustration of commuters at Towson University. Police are still investigating the shooting of a University of Maryland Eastern Shore student. According to Chief Scott Keller, Devin Ryan Johnson was shot in the leg while trying to break up a fight. Keller said several shots were fired early Sunday morning. A UMES alert was sent out to students minutes after the shooting, but no more information was given out until hours later. No arrests have been made thus far. Starting next fall, University of Maryland pre-law students will be able to take classes taught by law professors while pursuing their undergraduate degrees. A new Law and Society program is going to be available to students by emphasizing the role of law in all aspects of life. Applications are scheduled to be available to students later this semester. The university is looking to admit roughly 75 students in the fall of 2014 because of this program. Commuters at Towson University are becoming frustrated with finding on-campus parking spots. Parking and Transportation Representative Pat Mooney at Towson says they sell about 7,000 permits for 3,383 spots. Mooney says that during peak time, there are easily 600 spots available. Commuters disagree by saying parking on campus is horrible. Towson feels the need to enforce tickets because it is unfair to people that paid for parking passes. Each year, Towson receives about $500,000 from parking tickets. This is Catherine Carmine with this week's edition of Campus Connection.
And SU sports are in full swing, so sports correspondent Kat Murphy gives us an update on what our Seagulls have got going on.
After 2 defeats to open the year, the Salisbury University football team claimed its first win of the 2013 season, 28-10, at North Carolina Wesleyan College on Saturday afternoon. The Bishops scored on the first play of the fourth quarter, cutting Salisbury's lead to 21-10, but 2 long drives allowed the Seagulls to hold the ball for nearly 11 minutes of the final quarter, milking the clock and closing out the win. Salisbury ran the ball 6 times over 10 plays during the drive as junior Desmond Civils converted 2 third downs on the drive with runs of 11 and 10 yards. Andre Carter and DJ Davis had interceptions, and Joey Jones completed 4 passes in the game for 92 yards. The win sends Salisbury into its bye week on a high note, who will be back in action on Saturday, October 5th, traveling to Utica College. Junior forward Benjamin Aretti sealed a 1-0 victory for Salisbury University men's soccer team over Catholic University of America, putting the Seagulls back in the win column. The first half of the game played out slow as the Seagulls managed the only 2 shots on the goal in the first 45 minutes of play. The action began early in the second half as both teams totaled 21 shots. With less than 6 minutes remaining in the contest, Arietti notched his second goal of the season with a well-placed shot from inside the 6-yard box. The men look on to their next game scheduled for Wednesday, September 25th, as they take on Johns Hopkins University at the SU soccer complex. The number 23rd Salisbury University volleyball team added another regular season tournament championship to its tally this season, winning the Blue Jay Classic at Elizabethtown College with a pair of 3-0 sweeps over Cairn University and State University of New York at Cortland on the second day of the weekend tournament on Saturday. Sophomore Casey France was named the MVP of the tournament, and she was joined by junior Maddie Smith on the all-tournament team. The Seagulls began day 2 of the Blue Jay Classic with its second sweep of 3-0 of the tournament and then clinched the tournament championship by defeating Cortland. The team was led by Smith's 14 kills, while Stouffer tallied 8 and Poston registered 6. The Seagulls will be back in action on Wednesday in their first home match of the season, and they will host Washington College. And the number 3 Salisbury University field hockey team claimed a 5-1 win against Elizabethtown College on Saturday afternoon, outscoring the Blue Jays 4-0 in a dominant second half, including a hat trick by junior Mallory Elliott. The teams played nearly even in the first half, with Salisbury holding a narrow 10-7 edge in shots. The Blue Jays got on the board first, scoring just over 3 minutes into the contest. Sophomore Courtney Jansen and senior Emily Voschel were the only other 2 scorers of the match. The 5-1 Salisbury field hockey team will be back at Seagull Stadium on Wednesday night, hosting Johns Hopkins University. For SUTV News, this is Kat Murphy.
Thanks for that, Kat. And for the students that are looking for some fun ways to be active and meet up with others, we sat down this week with Jenna Payne to talk about some of SOAP's upcoming events.
Well, tonight we're having a showing of Monsters University in Double Biss Hall 123 at 9 p.m. and we're having it also shown on Friday at 9 in Double Biss 123, and then on Sunday we're having it played one last time in Double Biss 123 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Tomorrow night we're having our open mic night from 7 to 10, and it's in the Wycomica room, and people can sing, tell poems, tell stories, anything like any talent like that. And then on Sunday, we're having our Sunday Fun Day. We're having hot air balloon rides, and it's from 5 to 9 in the Seagull Square lawn. And we're going to have food catered, and you can take hot air balloon rides. They're from 3 to 5 minutes long, and it should be a great time.
And the buzz has been plentiful amongst Harry Potter fans since news broke of another J.K. Rowling-inspired screenplay. Maggie McBain asks students about their reaction to the news and breaks down what we can expect from this upcoming Wizard film.
I'm very excited for the new movie because I'm a big Harry Potter fan, and I don't know when it comes out, but I will definitely be there at the premiere to see it.
If it's got the same tone and style of the Harry Potter series, or if it's like a completely different take on it.
And plus it's in New York, so we finally have some Wizarding World in the US, which we're actually really excited to kind of see how the Wizarding World of the US is, according to J.K. Rowling.
I'm just really excited that after 6 years since the last Harry Potter book has come out, we're finally getting some new content that we can all just be excited about and kind of relive our old, Harry Potter days. So I think what I'm really excited about for the movie is that it's going to be set in 1920s New York. So that's going to mean that we're going to get to see the Wizarding World in America, which is new, and also pre-Voldemort. So just kind of what Wizarding culture was like back then, before Harry's time.
J.K. Rowling's new movie is going to be based off a Hogwarts textbook, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. This isn't a prequel or a sequel to the Harry Potter story, and it takes place in the 1920s in New York City, 70 years before Harry Potter's story even begins. This is J.K. Rowling's first screenplay with Warner Brothers and will eventually be turned into an entire movie series. This is Maggie McBain with SUTV News.
Now we take a look at some events that took place in history. It was on this day in 1789 that the first United States Congress adopted 12 amendments to the Constitution and sent them to the states to be ratified. 10 of these amendments will go on to become our Bill of Rights. And it was on this day in 1957 that 9 black students who had been forced from a Little Rock, Arkansas high school because of unruly white crowds were escorted to class by members of the U.S. Army. The Little Rock Nine would go on to become a national symbol for the civil rights movement. And on September 25th, 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor was sworn in as the first female justice of the United States Supreme Court. Since O'Connor made her way to the bench, the court has added 3 more female justices, including Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sonia Sotomayor, and Aleda Kagan. With that, we conclude this week's edition of SUTV Weekly News. For everyone at SUTV News, thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you right back here next week. Good night.